So, what is your forecast for the future of electric vehicles? Is it just a niche like some Tesla bears are saying, or is it a technology revolution that will replace gas cars? Today, we will watch Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management. He's a tech industry analyst known for his investments in Apple and now Tesla. He believes that Tesla's potential addressable market with cars is $2.5 trillion, which is 4 times Apple's market. So today we have Jeff Lutz with us, and he's going to help us break this down. He's actually an expert in the cell phone industry. He himself had worked at some very large Fortune 100 companies that competed directly with Apple, and he ran factories and manufacturing. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you.
So let's watch this video from Gene Munster. So this was on CNBC. And basically what he says is that where is the world going when it comes to transportation? If it's not an electric world, then Tesla's not going to get there. If it is, then the company's in a great position. Tesla's got a pole position. Other automakers are backing off on EVs. Let's listen to him share his thoughts.
Well, ultimately, I think you probably pay 5 or 6 times revenue. And the question is, what is the revenue going to be in the next 2, 3, 4 years? And this is, I think, where people need to look in the mirror and ask the question, which is, ultimately, where is the world going when it comes to transportation? If the answer is maybe it's an electric world over the next 10 to 20 years, then Tesla's not going to get there. It won't get the bid that to keep the stock going. If the answer is that the world is going in that direction, I think the company is in a great position. And the reason why is that this addressable market, gets back to your question about what do you pay for this? The addressable market for automotives is massive. If you take the low end, it's just over $2 trillion a year. The high end, it's $2.5 trillion. The smartphone market's about $600 billion a year. So this is 4x the size of that. Tesla's got a pole position. General Motors just announced that they're backing off some of their plans to do for their light truck production facility. They basically postponed that by about 1.25 years. The other automotive makers just are backing off on EVs. And so I think this is the period of where great companies have difficulties. And ultimately, I think that they will come out. I think you pay 5 or 6 times revenue. That's a hardware software model that Apple has. And where does that get you to? They'll do call it $25 billion in revenue next year. That probably goes to $500 billion over the next several years. And you can kind of fill in the multiple there.
Love Gene. Very good. He was obviously an incredible Apple analyst, but now he's focusing on Tesla. 4 times the market cap of Tesla or Apple. So, and clearly, I mean, who thinks that EVs are a niche? I mean, I've heard Tesla bears tell us that recently, and I cannot understand how anybody might think this is a fad.
Yeah, I think they're taking what's happening in non-Tesla EV, where the inventories have grown from the supply isn't really that much higher, but the inventories have grown from 40 to 50 days to start the year to 100 days of inventory. Remember, Tesla's at 15 days of inventory, and their competitors in competitive EV are at 100. And what's happened is a lot of them haven't moved on price. And what's happened is the comparable value of what they're selling versus what Tesla's selling, the gap has grown. A Cadillac Lyriq is $68,000. Polestar's and I think $80,000. You know, the trucks are much higher in price. The opening Silverado that they're shipping, I think, is $108,000. So that's what's happening. And Gene's right to call it that EV. They're backing off of EV. And yeah, I mean, paying 5 times sales. And the question is where do you pin the sales number? You can't just do it for the year you're in. They're going to be growing sales or entering new segments. And now they're going down to a lower segment below $30,000. So yeah, I mean, the catalysts are there for Tesla. And to think that the EV adoption curve isn't going to continue, there's no data that actually says that. All the surveys that have been done of prospective car buyers show, like, for example, in the US, there was one that was recently done that showed 43% of people want an EV as their next vehicle. And only 8% of the people today in the US are actually buying an EV. So it tells you that there's a huge gap between where we are today and the people that want to get into an EV. And as Tesla makes the total price, available price lower and more attainable for people, I think they're going to help carry the adoption curve forward and keep their supply base and the utilization up and running.
So few people might know that you, Jeff, you are very instrumental. You competed head to head with Apple when they came out with the iPhone. Your background in the mobile phone industry is right up there, consulting with the top executives of these Fortune 100, Fortune 50 companies, and you have experience with manufacturing and others. And so, just one quick question for this episode, but I think we need to do a show. I'm so excited about this, where we need to compare Apple versus Tesla in the sense that I want to ask you, right? Is, in the Apple world, the smartphone world, Apple got 15% of the market, and then you have the Androids, Samsung and others that you went and built to win 85% of the market. Is that the same thing that's going to happen with the Chinese? Are they going to be the Android of Tesla's EVs? I'd love to ask you that question. So how about a very quick 30-second, just give me a snippet. What's your thinking there?
Yeah, I did ramp EV as iOS was ramping up, and basically designed how the modern, with my team of great people and others, designed how the modern smartphone is built. And you know what? That's going to be a longer conversation. What I will say is I do see Tesla with their services piece and the ability, the fact that they can basically bend metal more efficiently now than the 100-year-old companies. I see them actually being able to capture greater hardware gross margins, and then when you lump in the services piece, Tesla's going to capture the margin share. There's going to be other volume players coming in, but I actually think Tesla is going to have more market share than Apple versus Android, to be honest with you. So I think it's going to be a little slightly more dominant, and we can talk more about how to compare the two. But I think they'll be slightly more dominant because they're going to have
slightly more.
They're going to have more. Tesla has more product at lower price points earlier in the ramp cycle. Remember when smartphones are ramping up, it was just premium for Apple, and they lost a lot of market share that way. Tesla's actually coming in and hitting the lower tiers of vehicle availability faster than Apple did in their curve.
Okay, and we should not forget, we're not just in the car market. We're in the bot market, the energy market. Let's do that. I'm really looking forward to that show that we do next week, or maybe the following week. Thank you, Jeff. Follow him on X at @TheJeffLutz. We are just so fortunate that you join us every week. Appreciate you, Jeff. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Herbert. Appreciate you as well.